Hi and welcome to another episode of Hiking with me. This is my 42nd trig point walk and today we'll be seeing two trig points. We're going to the Skeffington trig point and the Keythorpe trig point. We're starting off at Tugby and we're going to be heading up and round over to Skeffington, so we're not walking along the main A47, which is a little bit dangerous. Then down to Goadby, seeing a couple of churches, hopefully find all the usual stuff. Then over to Keythorpe, doing the Keythorpe trig point, then back up to Tugby for a nice refreshing pint. So let's see how we get on with today's trig walk. From Tugby, we cross over the main A47 and walk down Wood Lane. You have to be careful about crossing the A47 because it's extremely busy. When you go down Wood Lane, it takes you past Cafe Fontu, so if you're that way inclined, you can get yourself a nice coffee before the walk. And you're going to be walking down Wood Lane for about half a mile or so, then bearing left, heading towards Skeffington. So after a short walk up here, you come to the Midshires Way. We've picked up the Midshires Way several times on all the Leicester trig walks. So you're going to be heading over there. Hopefully this will actually work because it's very windy. Just over there in the distance is Tugby Woods. We're going to be following this path down here. I know you can't see it on this camera, but over there's an aerial and I think that's where our first trig point is. So we're now heading across the field. As you can see, you've got the main A47 in front of us, and probably can't see on here the yellow A marker just ahead. And I think the trig point is just near that aerial mast over there. So we're now on the A47, heading back towards Leicester, and just down here, probably about a quarter of a mile, should be the Skeffington trig point. But we've got to be careful along here. As you can see, it's extremely busy. According to my map, the Skeffington trig point is somewhere around here. People often park in the little entrance there and just head down here somewhere. So hopefully it's going to be an easy one to find. I've spotted the trig point, there's the trig point, just down there. So in amongst all the bushes and everything like that, you come across the trig point. So this is the Skeffington trig point, covered in moss, well protected from the elements. As you can see, got the spider on top, got the plate just there. Can't actually read the number, but it's in good condition. Nice little bit of lichen on there. Is it lichen or moss? You can always correct me on that. And that's secluded just off the A47. So we've got to my 42nd trig point, Skeffington trig point, tucked away in the hedgerow, all unassuming, basically another monument to England's great, basically, when they used to map England and all that lot, and now it's hidden here, basically ignored. As you can see, very busy road this, wouldn't recommend walking along here. We're all going to walk along here for about a quarter of a mile, just before we get to Skeffington. Then we'll pick up a path that goes across the fields and we'll go to the back end of Skeffington. There it is. So after walking along the busy A47, you'll see a public footpath sign to your right and another one to your left. We're going to be crossing over here and heading towards Skeffington. So you head down these steps, across the bridge, and then at last we're off the A47 and into the fields, and there's Skeffington just over there. Hello. But all the horses came to say hello. Watch my mum cross over the... Hello. Hello. I'm not going to hurt you. There we are. As you come into Skeffington, you go down this nice little path. Once you said hello to the horses, you just head down here, and our first port of call now will be the church. Once you've gone through down the path, you come into Main Street. There always Main Street in Skeffington, and we're now going to have a little look at the church. Some nice quaint cottages, but we're going to be heading up to the church, like I keep saying, which is just up here. Just over there's another undiscovered area that I didn't even know existed, Skeffington Hall. And hopefully just around here, like I said about 30 times so far, is the church. We're just coming up to the church dedicated to St Thomas Becket, the Archbishop of Canterbury, who was murdered in his own cathedral in 1170. His death shocked England, and within years he was made a saint. Many small churches like this one were built or rededicated to him. Pilgrims once travelled here to see a relic said to come from Becket's shrine. It's long gone now, but his story still lingers in the stones, a reminder of faith, power, and the cost of standing up to the king. Skeffington Church dates back to the 13th century, and like many village churches, it holds layers of history. Local records mention John the Seer Smith, a so-called cunning man who lived nearby. In the 17th century, he was known for mixing herbal cures and charms, a blend of faith and folklore that still echoes in the village like this across Leicestershire. We're going to have a quick look around and see whether we can find the bench markers and upper portrait markings, which we never seem to have much luck doing. No sign of the Belvoir Angel around here, but then we're nowhere near Belvoir, the Vale of Belvoir. That's an interesting one. Unfortunately, we can't go inside because they're doing all the things that they usually do on a church on a Sunday, praying and all that sort of stuff. So we'll just have a look around the outside and see whether we can actually find the benchmark or any appropriate markings. Looks like we're actually on the back end of Skeffington Hall. This is what I like about village life. That's a lovely harvest festival display. But no upper portrait markings. Not even worth showing. Took a little while to find it, but there's the next one. Like I say, I've lost count how many we've seen, but there it is, being protected by a little dragonfly. Not dragonfly, very long legs. So after looking around the church, we're heading back the same way that we came, down Main Street, and we're now going to head to Rolleston Hall. Looked like we'd actually took the wrong turning, but as you can see, there's a yellow way marker, well, a yellow sign there. As you come out of Skeffington, just pick up this road, thought that was a fox, there's a cat. I know that we're in the country all the time around here, but not long before you actually leave Skeffington, you head south towards Rolleston Hall. You're back out in the country, and Rolleston Hall probably is about a mile down here. Looks like the horses came over to say hello to us again. We're not going to stop this time, horses. Well, this is nice in the middle of nowhere. I love it when you come across a bridge hidden in the depths of the country. I don't know what this river's called, but coming along here. It's hard work going through there as my mum struggles through. There we are. We're now in Rolleston, looking for the church near Rolleston. It should be, in fact, I was going to say it should be around here somewhere. And there it is, just there. Can't go down there, that's private. So this is the church. Looks very medieval, this one does. We're now at Rolleston, and we're going to discover the tunnel secrets and the witchfinder's fate. The tunnel from the hall to the church hid Sir Thomas Rolleston's witch victims. Skeletons were found in 1756. The lake itself saw the drowning of Mary in 1692. Her mother accused Sarah of witchcraft. Sarah was hanged, cursing the waters. They remain icy cold even in summer. Mary's ghost still swims here, searching for her mother. Well, that's an interesting one. And I take it they've got that no public access because they don't want you to find the witches. So I'll probably be the next one that's going to be hung. You know how pure these religious people are. But let's see if we can find the benchmark. Well, that's an interesting post. Don't know what that is. That's nice. There's not much here. Oh, that was a well-hidden one. This is St John's Church, Rolleston, near Rolleston Hall. So that's another one found. Nice round here. But now to see if we can get out from here. Work my way around here. The wall along here for this, well, Rolleston Hall, it's like a prison camp. Here's a nice little old road sign. So we live in Rolleston and heading to Goadby. And just down here is the lake. And the lake has got an interesting story. I'm now standing here next to Rolleston Hall Lake, where the waters have long held a reputation for mystery. Local stories speak of a young woman who drowned here in the 16th century and a woman accused of witchcraft in her death. People say that the lake also remains icy cold ever since, a chilling reminder of fear, superstition and the old belief that shaped villages like this. It'd be nice to see actually a hand pop up holding a sword or something of actually supernatural or superstitious interest, but we're never going to see anything like that. Or there'd be a nice place to come down here and camp and see when anything does actually happen. This is actually an easy part of the walk, a lot better than walking along the A47. As you can see, we're walking along a well-kept gravel path with the trees stopping the wind from us getting blown about. Once you've been walking across a nice path that then veers off across this field, it's a shame you can't keep onto that, but we're now going to head down here in amongst the sunflowers. No idea what these are. That looks like a corn just there, corn on the cob or something like that, but probably one of the steepest climbs so far today is a hill just before you get into Goadby. As you can see, beautiful scenery. My mum's making it up. When you get to the top of the hill, you're welcomed by a gate that you can lean against to get your breath back. Then it's downhill the other side and into Goadby. Okay, so while we catch our breath after walking up the hill, here's a little folklore story. Margaret Pearson, a midwife accused of witchcraft in the 1620s, cursed the font so no babies were ever baptised at that font for over 50 years. Behind the church lays a plague pit where villagers of 1665 were buried en masse. Farmers reported horses refused them to approach and ghostly skeletons were said to watch intruders. So let's see if we actually see any of those. I doubt it though. So luckily, after climbing up that hill, it's downhill all the way into Goadby. A little bit awkward walking down there, you have to be careful underfoot. But we'll be coming up to Palmer's Lane in a second. And when we get to Palmer's Lane, we turn right and left into Goadby. Once you come off Palmer's Lane, you turn left up the Goadby Hill into Goadby. Another lovely little village, Goadby. And a house for sale if anybody's interested in buying it for me. So when you get into Goadby, there's a welcoming bench for you to have a little rest, then turn left into Church Lane and our next church is just up here. And look at that, in the same style, the old schoolhouse. They're in the same style literally everywhere around, well, almost around England. We're now coming up to St John the Baptist Church, where there seems to be quite a bit of folklore and history regarding this place. Behind the back is supposed to be a plague pit. Don't know whether you'll actually ever find that or not. But also keep an eye out for apophtheic markings. But it looks like it's had a bit of an extension over the years. There's supposed to be a plague pit around here somewhere. Don't know if that's a plague pit over there. Be interesting to find it. Don't know whether that's anything like the Belvoir Angel. That's a strange one. Same day I'm born, January the 19th, but not in 1906, age 85. So I can't find this plague pit. Well, according to my map, there's no benchmarks on this building, but let's see if we can actually have a look inside. Another little layout for Harvest Festival. Don't know where the font is. Where's the font? Well, here's one font. There's another font up there. Strange carving. So, I think this is a new font, isn't it? There's no markings on here. So this dates back to 1893. Sydney Frank Toon off Bilston. Another nice little offering. I love all these little pumpkins. Actually, they're not real pumpkins. They're all fluffy. There's another font. We don't know which one's the original font, whether that was replacing that one back there. Also can't use it because it's been cursed. So it's either that font that's cursed or that font that's cursed. But they both look relatively new. I've been in this church for a little while because obviously they're usually locked up. But there's some nice stained glass window here. Nice little church, this. I think I found myself an atropine marking just there. I think these are called the daisy wheels or sundials or something like that, but as you can see, got the marking around there. It's a little bit faded, but I think that's one of them. Once you start going up the side of Peace Hill, you'll see another sign saying public footpath. You turn left here, over the stile, and up this hill. Like I've said many times, you can't really tell how steep these hills are on the camera, but I promise you, this one's a steep hill. Almost at the top. Have a look behind me in a minute to see where my mum is. But this is definitely a steep hill. And obviously, closer you get to the top, the windier it gets. So walking by another area, pine tree studs. Obviously, we breed horses around here, in the middle of nowhere. But walking through all the fields where all the horses are, but luckily it's well signposted with all the yellow way markers. Bit awkward round there, sort of took slightly a few wrong turnings, but you have to end up going over that bridge. Yeah, down this way. So once you've gone through the paddocks, you head down this way. Way in the distance you can see another yellow way marker. In the middle of nowhere we come across some nice lakes, probably used for fishing. Not much wildlife around here. Reminds me of the lakes that we came across when we did the Namptampton walk. Old bulrushes. As you can hear, it's very windy still. And then we're heading up through that gate and past that yellow way marker, and we should be on the Midshire Way very shortly. Then Keythorpe, Trig Point, Tugby, and a nice pint at the end. These would be interesting woods to walk through in the dark. or there's any folklore, evil spirits or witches that curse these woods. I'll probably do my research later on and find out whether there is or not. After going across all these fields, we're now coming onto the Midshires Way. Once again, the Midshires Way, this will take us back to Tugby for a pint. So we just turn left here, and hopefully we've got about a mile, no more than 1.5 miles to go. There's Sunday dinner, just relaxing in the fields. What better way than to spend the day like that in a field? But we're walking, not far from Keythorpe Trig Point now. I think we've only got about, I don't know, 1/4 mile or something like that. So be one of those rare walks where we actually do 2 trig points. That's my 43rd trig point. As you can see, the plate 4649 is intact. It's in good condition, if not a little hard to get to, but it's another awkward one. But I've touched it, so I've bagged it. So that's 43 now, and that's the Keythorpe trig point. Then once you've gone across the track and across the main road, you head up Hallerton Road, and we're 3/4 of a mile away from Tugby and that nice refreshing pint. Oh, this walk is slightly longer than I actually planned, wasn't anything unusual. We're almost done 10 miles, but luckily we're just coming to Tugby, just up ahead, so hopefully the pub will be open. There's another nice little cottage, Keythorpe Hall, and the gatehouse. Oh, I love the windows. We're just coming into Tugby now, our last stop, and we'll be stopping for the Fox and Hound pub for a nice refreshing pint of cider. Tugby Church of St Thomas and Becket stands on ground worshipped on since the 12th century. Its dedication to Becket marks it out as one of the earliest in Leicestershire. The Victorians rebuilt much of it, but the medieval tower and the 15th century font remained. Tugby and Skeffington were once closely linked through shared clergy family and local stonemasons, whose marks can still be seen in both churches. I'll do my usual first and look for some apotropaic markings around the door and the porch. Sometimes you're lucky around the door and the frame. It's just luck though, but there's something here. I don't know what it is. Possibly a graffiti or stonemason's marking. Stonemason markings usually are different to this, so I'd say it's more than likely graffiti. I do like how they do the Harvest Festival. All this stuff, the pumpkins, the apples, conkers, they all look very nice and autumnal. Very nice, but yeah, there are definitely no apotropaic markings around here that I can see. Just have a little wander around outside and see if I can find any benchmarks on here. I've not actually checked the site to see whether there is any. That's a nice clock. To the stonework here, looks like the old cement has been stripped away and lime mortar is being used instead, and it's brought the whole church back to life. It looks really nice now. Well, that is an easy one to find. The stonework's a little bit worn, but there it is. That's probably 30-35 benchmarks so far. In some time looking at these markings, and I've done a bit of reading about them too. The stone Swithland slate, which was quarried not far from here, it became really popular for headstones in Leicestershire during the 17th and 18th century. It's a hard dark slate that holds carvings beautifully, which is why you can still see the details so clearly today. I'm still not entirely sure what these markings mean, but I'm hoping to find out more about them in the future. It's a bit like the Belvoir Angel, those strange winged faces that you see carved in old graves, which were meant to guide souls to heaven. I've learned quite a bit about these. Some are carved straight into the stone. I haven't spotted any new ones recently. It's nice seeing all the tins and that lot for Harvest Festival. A bit different to back in the 1960s when it used to be fruit and veg grown by the local farmers. There's the organ. In fact, stop. Well, this is the font. Usually has secret markings on there, but this has got, that's a strange one, a dollar sign. Don't know what that's all about. And these as well, these look old. That's a nice font, but there's no special markings on there really. I suppose that's supposed to be the, don't know what, Shows our village. I'm just thinking of one of the Indiana Jones films. That's Jesus supposed to drink out of. But nice little display. Another nice stained glass window. Well, we're coming to the end of our 40-second Trig Walk. We've seen 2 trig points this time, the Skeffington one and the Keythorpe one. We've visited several villages, a couple of churches and that lot. So hopefully, if you enjoyed this walk, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.